What do you get when you combine creamy fudge with a whole lot of toasted pecans? Well, you get New Orleans Pecan Pralines. I was lucky enough to spend some time working in New Orleans, and I got hooked on them. So what you want to do is get your sugar ready. I have 1 3/4 cups of brown sugar, and I do need granulated sugar too. Although this really is a brown sugar fudge. So I had 1 3/4 cups of brown sugar. I need the same measurement, 1 3/4 cups of granulated sugar. I'll add that to my pot. What makes these pralines so creamy is the combination of dairy, starting with 3/4 cup of whipping cream. I need 6 tablespoons of milk, so that's the same as 3 ounces. And you also need 6 tablespoons of butter. You sort of think of butterscotch and caramel, but at the same time, it's the way you cook this fudge that again has this creaminess, but still that graininess to it that just melts away on the tip of your tongue. I have my remaining ingredients on hand, 3 cups of toasted pecans that have been coarsely chopped, and I also have my vanilla and salt. And I want to have these ingredients on hand because this is a temperature-specific type of fudge. So I've got a candy first, is 230 degrees. So when you boil water, 212 is boiling, but when you boil sugar, it really gets hot. There we go. Now that I've hit 230, I can add my pecans. Now the pecans will cool down the mixture, but it'll come back up to temperature. When I am making candy, I do rely on my candy thermometer. That way, I know I hit my temperature spot on. That was my 237. So now I can add my teaspoon of vanilla, my teaspoon of salt. I'll take this off the heat. And just like that quick chocolate fudge recipe, this is where you do nothing. I know it's tempting, you want to stir it, but you have to just let it sit and cool to 212. Because at this point, the sugar crystals are forming all on their own, and it's only at 212 that you're going to break them down by stirring it. I've hit the magic number, 212. Now I'll grab another wooden spoon, and just like with the chocolate fudge, you want to give this a stir. Activate those crystals, break them down a little bit, and just keep stirring. It can take a minute until you see it actually start to thicken up. You can even hear the sound of the praline changing. So you want this to be the consistency that is spoonable. All right, let's give this a try. Nicely thickened. And what you want to do is drop spoonfuls onto your baking tray. Just about 2 or 3 bites. And see that gorgeous satin shine? That means you've got just the right temperature. You do want to work quickly because once the praline starts setting, oh, they keep setting. See how these pralines are sitting up? The praline mixture isn't oozing out from the pecans. That means you've got the temperature just right. When you're portioning them, if you find the praline mixture is melting, just give it a minute or 2 to cool in the pot. You'll get there. Even though the pralines set up quickly, they still do take time to cool. So you set them aside, give them an hour, even 2 hours. But then, once they've set up, like any good fudge recipe, you can store them at room temperature. And they're delicate when you bite into them, but they're actually quite strong. So I treat these like candy and layer them into a candy jar. Well, now I deserve a reward. I love the shine that's on the outside, but yet, wow, when you crack into it, see that matte inside? You just know that's got that fudgy texture and flavor. And it's such a fine texture. That sandiness, it's there, oh, and then it melts away and it's gone, and you're left with a beautifully toasted pecan.